From a small hut in the northern Uganda city of Gulu, a group of young women squeezed in to watch the Hawkeyes beat the Buckeyes on a monitor powered only by solar energy and Wi-Fi.
In a remote Ugandan refugee camp, a group of young women huddle around a small screen. Their eyes widen as Caitlin Clark sinks another impossible three-pointer. Thousands of miles away from Iowa, Clark's magic is changing lives. But how did a basketball star from the American Midwest become a beacon of hope in Africa? And what ripple effects is she creating back home? The Caitlin Clark effect isn't just about numbers on a scoreboard. It's a global phenomenon reshaping dreams and economies alike. Before we break it down, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are you ready? Let's go.
But that so-called Caitlin Clark effect can be felt around the country, and as KCCI's Jody Long discovered, even around the world.
A small screen flickers to life in a remote Ugandan refugee camp, casting a soft glow on the faces of young women gathered around it. Their eyes are fixed on the image of Caitlin Clark, her ponytail swinging as she effortlessly sinks another three-pointer. It's a scene that would have been unimaginable just a few months ago. This unlikely connection between Iowa's and Indiana's basketball sensation and a group of refugee women in Uganda is the work of Child Voice, a non-profit organization dedicated to empowering young girls who have faced the trauma of war and displacement. Through education, skills training, and therapy, Child Voice helps these resilient survivors rebuild their lives and rediscover hope.
We were curious at first. As the game went on, we fell in love with what we were watching, and we became more excited on seeing how the scores were happening.
Life in the refugee camp is a daily struggle against harsh realities. Food and water are scarce, living conditions are cramped, and the emotional scars of conflict run deep. But amidst these challenges, something unexpected has taken root: basketball. The sport has been introduced as a form of therapy and empowerment, offering a much-needed outlet for physical and emotional expression. At first, the idea of basketball as a tool for healing was met with skepticism. Many of the young women had never seen a game before, let alone picked up a ball. But as they watched Caitlin Clark weave her magic on the court, something began to shift. The initial confusion gave way to curiosity, and soon, to unbridled excitement. Martha Niamal, one of the young women at the center, couldn't contain her amazement. "I've never seen anyone play like that before," she exclaimed, her eyes still glued to the screen. "The way she moves, the way she shoots, it's like she's dancing with the ball."
Having never watched a game of basketball in their lives, they were all instantly hooked.
Seeing how the thing was happening like magic in my eyes, and I like it so much, and I said, wow, I can also try it.
As Clark's games became a regular fixture at the camp, the impact was palpable. The young women began to mimic her moves, practicing imaginary jump shots and crossovers in their free time. But more than just the physical aspects of the game, it was Clark's confidence and determination that truly resonated. Richard Kitarinyeba, head of office at Child Voice Uganda, observed the transformation firsthand. "These girls have been through so much," he said, "but when they watch Caitlin play, you can see a spark in their eyes. It's like they're realizing that they too can dream big, despite their circumstances." The decision to introduce Clark's games was made by Child Voice's founders, lifelong fans of the Iowa Hawkeyes. They saw in Clark not just a talented athlete, but an ideal role model for girls who had often lacked positive influences in their lives. As the weeks went by, the impact of Clark's play extended far beyond the basketball court. The young women began to carry themselves differently, standing a little taller, speaking with more confidence. They started to set goals for themselves, not just in sports, but in their education and future careers.
The founders are lifelong Hawkeye fans who describe number 22 as the ultimate role model.
These girls have lived very tough lives to this point, and they really have not had role models. If anything, they've had negative role models. So they're learning how to be the best version of themselves, and we're trying to reinforce any positive role models we can.
Dr. Neil Mansager, a former board member of Child Voice, noted the profound change. "These girls have lived very tough lives," he explained, "but through sports and positive role models like Caitlin, they're learning to be the best versions of themselves. It's truly inspiring to witness." The transformative power of Clark's influence was perhaps best summed up by Babau Esther, another teenager at the Lucombe Center. "What fellow girls are doing and how they are impacting society is very encouraging and motivating for girls like us," she said, her voice filled with newfound determination.
For these girls to have strong role models, both far and near, it's crucial. to their future success.
From African refugee camps to the heartland of America, Caitlin Clark's influence spans the globe. But in Iowa, her impact isn't just measured in dreams and determination. It's counted in cold, hard cash. How has one player managed to spark an economic revolution in her home state?
Iowa Hawkeye superstar Caitlin Clark has made history on the court this season, but she's also had a big impact on the state's economy over her 4-year career in Iowa City. Clark has generated an estimate $82.5 million in community and state consumer spending.
The answer lies in what locals have dubbed the Caitlin Clark effect. It's a phenomenon that's turning Iowa City into a bustling hub of activity, with businesses reaping the rewards of Clark's on-court magic. But this isn't your typical economic boom. It's a testament to the power of sports to transform not just individuals, but entire communities. Before Clark's rise to stardom, Iowa City's economy hummed along at a steady pace. Local bars and restaurants saw their usual crowds, and out-of-state visitors were a welcome but infrequent sight. Fast forward to today, and the landscape has shifted dramatically. As Clark's fame has grown, so too has the influx of basketball enthusiasts eager to witness her record-breaking performances firsthand.
I actually looked up how much the tickets are going for. I kind of cut that price in half.
Sites like SeatGeek are charging hundreds and thousands for a seat at Carver Hawkeye. She says the attention for the sport has grown a lot in the 15 years she's been a super fan.
A friend of mine manages one of the restaurants down on the Strip, and they were checking with me. It's like, oh, you know when the games are going to be? Tell me, like, we're going to be smashed this weekend.
The numbers tell a story of unprecedented growth. Out-of-state attendance at Hawkeye women's basketball games has skyrocketed from just over 10% to nearly 15% during Clark's senior year. That translates to an increase of over 38,000 out-of-state fans flooding into Iowa City, each bringing their wallets and their enthusiasm for the game. For local business owners, this surge in visitors has been nothing short of transformative. Bars and restaurants that once saw steady business are now reporting profits nearly tripling during March Madness. The excitement surrounding Clark's games has created a ripple effect, with fans flocking to local establishments before and after games to celebrate or commiserate.
Now, the Hawkeye women aren't just bringing in a big boost to television views, they're also having a big impact on local businesses. From bars to restaurants, everybody wants to get out to watch the Hawkeyes hit the hardwood.
One local business owner summed up the atmosphere perfectly.
We're getting more and more people, and it's getting bigger, it's getting louder, and it's a very fun environment to be in.
It's a sentiment echoed across the city as cash registers ring and crowds gather to be part of the Clark-inspired excitement. But it's not just the hospitality industry feeling the Clark effect. The demand to see Clark play has sent ticket prices soaring, with some secondary market prices reaching over $390. This unprecedented interest in women's basketball is reshaping the sports landscape in Iowa and beyond, challenging long-held assumptions about the marketability of women's sports.
The women's basketball team is driving people to Iowa City, and then once they're here, they're going to the restaurants, they're going to bars.
As the excitement builds and the economic impact becomes clearer, many are left wondering just how far-reaching the Caitlin Clark effect truly is. Economists and sports analysts have crunched the numbers, and the results are staggering. The estimated impact on Iowa's economy, a whopping $82.5 million. To put that figure into perspective, it's equivalent to paying tuition for thousands of students at the University of Iowa. Alternatively, it could purchase between 4,000 acres of Iowa cropland. It's an economic windfall that few could have predicted, all sparked by the talent and charisma of a single athlete. If you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. We know watching this video takes some of your time, and we appreciate you. Now back to the action.
The rest of the world can see that the quality of people that are on that court, and on top of that, they're great players. So it's like a win-win.
While Iowa reaps the economic benefits, the sports world watches in awe. For the first time in history, ticket prices for women's games are outpacing men's. What's behind this seismic shift, and how far will its tremors reach? The landscape of women's sports is undergoing a radical transformation, and Caitlin Clark stands at the epicenter. Historically, women's basketball has struggled to capture the same level of viewership and revenue as men's sports. The WNBA has faced challenges in drawing consistent crowds and lucrative TV deals, but Clark's emergence has flipped the script. ushering in a new era of possibilities. In the 2023 WNBA season, average attendance hovered around 6,600 fans per game. Fast forward to 2024, and the Indiana Fever are averaging 17,000 fans per game. Ticket prices for Clark's debut game reached the $1,000 mark on resale sites. It's a stark contrast to the league's usual ticket prices, which typically range from $20 to $200.
And the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history. Clarkonomics, my friend!
But it's not just about the in-person experience. Clark's influence is reshaping the digital landscape of women's basketball. Social media engagement for WNBA content has skyrocketed, with platforms like Instagram and TikTok seeing a 300% increase in interactions related to women's basketball. Clark's own social media following has exploded, surpassing many established WNBA stars and rivaling some NBA players. Television ratings tell an equally compelling story. The 2023 WNBA Finals averaged 728,000 viewers. Clark's playoff games? It ranged from 1.8 million to 3.4 million viewers. The Clark effect extends beyond mere numbers. Her style of play, a mesmerizing blend of long-range shooting, precise passing, and court vision, has captivated fans and critics alike. It sparked conversations about the evolution of the women's game and its potential to draw in casual viewers who might have previously overlooked women's basketball. As the buzz builds, sports marketing analysts are scrambling to quantify Clark's potential impact on the WNBA. Early projections suggest she could boost league revenue by 20 to 30% in her rookie season alone. This influx of cash could lead to higher player salaries, improved facilities, and more robust youth development programs, creating a virtuous cycle of growth for women's basketball. But the implications stretch far beyond basketball. Clark's rise is challenging long-held assumptions about the marketability of women's sports as a whole. Brands that once shied away from female athletes are now clamoring for partnerships. From athletic wear to energy drinks, companies are recognizing the untapped potential of women's sports as a marketing powerhouse. The long-term implications of Clark's impact are still unfolding. Some experts believe we're witnessing the dawn of a new era in sports, where the gender gap in viewership and revenue begins to close. Others caution against putting too much pressure on a single player, warning that sustainable growth requires systemic changes and continued investment in women's sports at all levels.
WNBA has seen record-breaking numbers this season in viewership, ticket sales, merch sales, and just overall growth of the league.
Clark's on-court prowess has captivated millions, but it's her off-court persona that's sparking a global revolution. How did a college athlete from Iowa become a beacon of hope for refugee girls in Uganda? The story behind this unlikely connection might just redefine what it means to be a sports icon. In a world where athletes often make headlines for all the wrong reasons, Caitlin Clark stands out as a breath of fresh air. Her humility, work ethic, and genuine passion for the game have endeared her to fans across the globe. But it's not just her skill with a basketball that's making waves. It's the way she carries herself off the court that's truly inspiring a generation. Clark's impact reaches far beyond the hardwood of Carver Hawkeye Arena or Gainbridge Fieldhouse. In a remote Ugandan refugee camp, young women gather around screens to watch her play, finding hope and motivation in her every move. It's a scene that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago, but Clark's influence knows no borders.
Necessarily had to be. I mean, she's a big star and everybody turning out for her in record numbers, but to spend time like this, I think, is very special.
But what is it about Clark that resonates so deeply with people from all walks of life? Perhaps it's the way she interacts with fans, always taking time to sign autographs and share a kind word. Or maybe it's her commitment to using her platform for good, supporting charitable causes and speaking out on issues that matter to her. One young fan, Sarah, put it this way: "Watching Caitlin play makes me believe I can do anything. She's not just amazing at basketball, she's kind and smart too. I want to be like her when I grow up." It's a sentiment echoed by parents and coaches across the country who see in Clark a role model they can wholeheartedly endorse. As Clark's star continues to rise, so does her potential to inspire change on a global scale. The impact of Clark's character extends far beyond individual inspiration. She's challenging stereotypes about women in sports, proving that one can be fiercely competitive on the court while remaining gracious and humble off it. In doing so, she's paving the way for a new generation of athletes who understand the power of their platform.
And it's important because it's drawing the women's basketball game even closer. You know, you have little kids that are looking up to you, boys and girls, and you taking the moment just to recognize them, I mean, it puts them in a special place. That's a moment they'll remember forever.
Clark's influence is reshaping what it means to be a sports icon in the 21st century. It's no longer enough to simply excel at your chosen sport. Today's athletes are expected to be role models, advocates, and agents of change. Clark embodies this new ideal, using her success to lift others up and make a positive impact on the world. As we've seen, Caitlin Clark's impact stretches far beyond the basketball court, from igniting economic booms in Iowa to inspiring hope in Ugandan refugee camps. She's rewriting the playbook on what it means to be a sports icon. Her influence isn't just changing the game, it's changing lives. At the end of the day, Clark's true legacy won't be measured in points scored or records broken. It'll be measured in the lives she's touched, the barriers she's shattered, and the dreams she's inspired. In Caitlin Clark, we're witnessing more than just a basketball phenomenon. We're watching history unfold, and it's only just begun. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.